Still Bills, what's the deal, man? We back. I'm fresh off the clockage, top of the week, bottom of Monday. I gotta go pick up my daughter right now. And I'm heading to the crib to kick my feet up for a minute before I go to the gym and do what I do, man. But peep game, I want to talk about something. In that, it is officially fight week. We're gonna work back from the order in which the cards, which the fights are stacked on this big, on this card this weekend. So we're gonna work our way from the main event all the way back to Abdullah Mason. So with that, and because this is a fight that I really want to talk about, and that being David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, man. I've been on, Nuke is probably the only, IBFP is probably the only panel I go on as of right now. I can never get back on Ring IQs because he's always late. I'm either going to the gym or coming from the gym or getting ready to go to bed whenever he goes live. So I can't get on his. I've been on my man Cam J. Shout out my man Cam J. And it's a couple more. I want to go on KO's as well, man. The one time I had time to go on his, he wasn't on. That was a Wednesday, man. So it's a few panels that I want to hit. But I just got to get on them, man. But this fight right here is probably it's kind of being, as far as excitement is concerned, it's kind of being replaced by Brian Norman and Devin Haney. I think people are a little bit more antsy about that fight than they are with this fight. But nonetheless, this is a real dope fight. And on the panel that I go on, which is the IBFP, a lot of people feel that David Benavidez has to go in here and knock this dude out to make a statement. And me personally, I don't think he needs to knock him out. I'm on record saying, man, if you can get a split decision, I'm cool. If you draw with Anthony Yarde, I'm cool. But people are saying that he needs a statement because he needs to prove that he is, that he's on the level of a better BF and B-ball. And I just don't feel that he's on that level. Those are elite fighters with elite skill sets. David doesn't necessarily have that. So I'm not gonna put no extra what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not gonna put no extra expectations on him that I don't think he can, that I don't think he's, that he's worthy of personally, man, because that's how you get let down. Now, if he goes in here and does knock him out, by all means, you get full credit for that win, and I'll even look at you in a different light. Depending on how you knock him out, it will really depend on how you knock him out. But I don't like, when I look at David, I don't see a dude who's on par with better BF Bivol or even a Sergey Kovalev. I just don't. And that's just what that is with me. So I'm on record. If you go in here and you split decision with Anthony Yarde, you're getting full credit for me. If you lose and you put up a damn good fight, it's a split decision loss for him, for you. It's a controversial loss. You getting full credit for me. I don't care because you're showing me now that you're wanting to fight adequate opposition. Now, granted, Anthony Yarde is the best opposition available. No, it is the best opposition available, considering the circumstance. Callum Smith, I think, is a more formidable foe than an Anthony Yarde. But Anthony Yarde is still a legitimate top 10 light heavyweight. So if you lose, okay, you just lost. I'm gonna talk shit to the motherfuckers who just had this super high level, who have this super high opinion of him. I'm gonna talk shit about them. I'll talk my shit about David as well, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to see one another fight. Motherfuckers lose, my nigga. Like, what do we do? That shit is petty. But you go in there and you win a split decision or majority decision, all right, cool. What that tells me is you can officially compete with the fighters up there in the division. You dig? But yeah, I'm excited about this fight. I real life fan, man. I think it's a real dope fight, man. And y'all know I don't do the, I'm not no punchline nigga. You know what I'm saying? I don't build anticipation so I can hit you with the. I don't do all that, man. I'm gonna just give it to you how I feel and who I'm going with in this fight. I'm going with David Benavidez in this fight. Man, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think but the thing is, I'm not overly sure about that. Because I see both of these dudes are defective fighters as far as skill set is concerned. These are not high quality boxers in the sense of, you're not about to get high IQ, you're not about to get immaculate feet, you're not about to get wizardry level defense. You ain't about to get none of that. You are getting a shootout. You're getting a shootout. But I just, there's levels to a shootout as well, man, because these ain't no, side to side, you dig, head movement, feet. These ain't them type of fighters, Brody. These ain't them type of dudes. These ain't them type of dudes. And you don't gotta be, because sometimes skills don't always pay the bills. Sometimes it's just gonna be the ruggedness that you present in a fight. Sometimes it's just gonna be the grittiness in the nigga, man. And these are two gritty individuals. These are two gritty individuals. We know what we get out of we know what we getting with these two, man. But I just feel like Anthony Yarde is a slightly better not even slightly. Anthony Yarde is a better counterpuncher than David Benavidez. He's a better counterpuncher than David Benavidez. I'm not apologizing about that or nothing. He wasn't hunking at me. I'm not making no apologies about that for nobody. David Benavidez, Anthony Yarde is a better counterpuncher than David Benavidez, but skill set doesn't always get the job done, man. Navarrete there's nothing skilled about that dude. He's wide with his punches, but he's been detonating shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just not a dude who's about to sit here and say you lost automatically or you're gonna win automatically because you have a significant, you're better in one aspect. If both of these dudes check the multitude of boxes as far as a builder boxer is concerned, and Anthony Yarde had that one advantage in his toolbox, all right, then I'd feel comfortable saying Anthony Yarde. But these, like I said, these are both the fighters with glaring deficiencies. They both are. There's no getting around that. You're lying if you say that they're not. People have gotten so comfortable with saying David Benavidez is this fighter that he isn't, because it's all predicated on a fucking, a hate campaign on behalf of Canelo. I've seen people say that David, counterpunching. You dig? He catches and shoots and all type of wild shit. And I'm like, what fight are y'all looking at that y'all can tell me this dude is doing all this shit in? You know what I'm saying? Like, it bothers me, because and this is why I wild out in the manner that I do. He's a good fighter. Just call the shit down the middle. There's nothing wrong with saying, bro, he's not that guy. It's nothing wrong with saying he brings pressure and volume punch into a fight. Those are his strong suits. That's it. That's literally it. That's it. With Anthony Yarde, you're getting power punching and some astute counter punching. That's it. So both of these dudes have glaring deficiencies in their game, to where just because Anthony Yarde is a better counterpuncher than he is doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be all that gets him. That's going to be the main reason that he wins the fight. Because like I said, I don't have him winning that fight. The thing is with me, I feel like David Benavidez is going to get clipped in this fight, and I'm going to trust in his durability. I'm going to trust that his durability and his heart. And his wanting, at least what he's saying, his wanting to be better, his wanting to fight the who's who in the division, the Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, with him wanting to fight those two, his grit, his determination to want to get to them two, and his durability, that's gonna cause him to find a way out of the jump out of the window of the house fire. You know what I'm saying? The house on fire. All right, there go the window right there. I'm jumping out the window. I ain't breaking it first. I'm just jump out that motherfucker. That's what I'm trusting in David Benavidez. That's it. That's what I'm trusting. That's one sedative where I feel like, all right, cool. This is, I'm a trust in his durability. But what I'm also going to trust is with the skill set, not the skill set, but the approach that he brings to a fight is pressure and volume punching. And with you couple that in with Yarde's propensity to get tired in a fight, I feel like David will fight at a high enough pace with his not his counter punching, but with his output, to where it's going to force Anthony Yarde to match that by opening up more than he normally does. Because Anthony Yarde isn't a volume puncher like that neither, man. He's kind of he's a 1-2 type dude. He's not putting combinations together like that. But David Benavidez, being the combination puncher that he is going to force Yarde to fight at a pace that is going to wear on his gas tank a whole lot faster than he normally is accustomed to fighting at. So on the back end of the fight, he's not going to have the energy to put counter punches together. He's not going to have it. By this time, it's just going to be straight up and down survival. He's going to be looking to just, make it to the round. He's going to go stints without putting without putting a punch out there. And David is just going to tee off on him. He's going to tee off on him. And I feel like that's going to be the story of how that fight goes. Could I be wrong? Yeah, I've been wrong plenty of times, as is everybody else. But that's personally how I see the fight going, man. But like I said, because David has the propensity to lead with his back foot first. He's off balance when you do that. When you take a step forward with your back foot first, as opposed to leading with your front foot and retreating with your back foot. When you do shit like that, you're off balance, and that puts you right. You're a lamb to the slaughter. And when he's squaring up, giving you both shoulders in exchanges, bro, that gets you, that you get dropped because of that shit. And he's been dropped because of that shit. I don't count that David Morrell knockdown as a knockdown, because I thought that was some bullshit. I thought the instant replay showed us, bro, that was the wrong ruling for that knockdown. You know that was, he got hit on the shoulder. But he is squared up early on in the fight, and he damn near got dropped for that. You can't get hit by Yarde with a flush shot like that. You can't get hit by Yarde like that. Yarde is a big puncher. Yarde is a big puncher and a proven puncher in the division. And before y'all jump out the window with the Lyndon Arthur thing, because everybody keeps bringing up Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon Arthur does not fight anything like David Benavidez. And he beat him twice. Yeah, you lost to him once before. It is what it is. Shit happens, man. But what he doing in the rematch? He went in there and outlined him in chalk in 4 rounds? And then went in there and beat him in the rematch just a few months back. Cool, you dig? We got that out the way. And even with that, that's dope, because he had to go on the hunt to get that win with Lyndon Arthur. Bet. That's a testament. All right, cool. Let's see. Can you duplicate what you did? Keep busy like that throughout the duration of the fight in front of this dude right here. That could be a testament to his cardio. But I just don't think, but Lyndon Arthur doesn't bring the level of intensity to a fight that David Benavidez does. Benavidez is a combination puncher. And as I've stated, man, David Benavidez this is not a defensive wizard we are talking about. I saw just a week or two ago, Mirage dumbass and Ashy was on there talking about this dude was getting his head to the side of shots. I'm like, what are y'all talking? No, that's not what he does. And what he does is he goes and he pulls up a clip where it's 3 clips. It's 3 chopped up clips between 3 different fights where this dude is getting he got his head off the line in each clip that this fool put up on the screen while we was on the IBFP's platform. And I was like, this is the shit that I'm talking about. This is why I'm not gonna lie, I'm rooting for Anthony Yarde. I'm rooting for Anthony Yarde because I'm like, if when he loses, it's gonna put shit in perspective for y'all. It'll put shit in perspective for y'all. And I'm not gonna knock him, but it's going to say that this dude is not what y'all are trying to make him out to be. He's just not. I'm arguing with one of my guys on Facebook right now. What are you talking? I can't stand. Oh, it's levels. What levels, nigga? God damn, man. But that's how I'm excited for this fight. I really am. And, people keep talking about he about to go in here and beat Zerto and shit. I'm like, what? Just putting the cart before the horse, man. It irks my nerves, man. So I'm going with David Benavidez in this fight. Because David Benavidez sets a certain tone in the fight that you have to be conditioned to deal with. And if you can't deal with that shit from rounds 1 to 12, you have to have something that will offset that skill. That I keep saying that skill set. That additive that he has in his game with the high volume punching. You have to have something. You have to have immaculate feet. You have to have really astute counter punching. You have to have real good defense. You have to. Anthony Yarde has good counter punching, but it's nothing like immaculate. It's nothing that can't be overcame. It's nothing like that. But I do think that, and coupled with David's bad feet and bad habits of squaring up, he's going to get his chin tested. He's going to get his chin tested in this fight. Everybody talking about how David could, Anthony Yarde gasses later on in the fight, which he does. But David, y'all acting like this dude is defensively immaculate to where he can slip and, he can swim without getting wet. He can make somebody miss and make them pay. That's just not his game. He's there to be hit. So what that means is from the start of the opening bell to wherever Anthony Yarde starts to gas and fade at, he's in trouble in between that time. David is. He's in trouble. You're lying if you're saying that he's not. You're lying to yourself. Or you just an overall straight up and down dick rider. who shouldn't be watching boxing because you don't really know what you're looking at or talking about. This is a good fight. It's a good test for David Benavidez because this is a legitimate test. Do I even want to call it a test? Nah, this ain't a test. This is a legitimate fight. This is a legitimate fight. Everybody talks about the losses that Anthony Yarde has, but they don't get that David hasn't even been in a fight of the caliber with the fighters that Anthony Yarde has lost to. He hasn't. You couldn't put down Volsdik. Better be it went in there and violated Volsdik. When he was a champion and took a belt off him to become unified, man. Like, let's stop playing games here. Let's stop playing games. Let's stop playing games. Sergey Kovalev was a dude with a legitimate body in the ring. Anthony Yarde pushed him. He pushed him. So in losses, Anthony Yarde has been in with the more quality opposition, even in a loss, because he has fought two legitimate champions. David Benavidez to this day, they were sitting world champions. David Benavidez to this day is not, let me see, he fought Durrell. That's the only sitting champion that he fought. And not to mention, both of his losses were to pound-for-pound fighters. Caleb Plant is not a pound-for-pound fighter. He's never been on the pound-for-pound list. Andre, never a pound-for-pound fighter. Jalen Love, Durrell, Volsdik, these were never pound-for-pound fighters. Morrell, never been a pound-for-pound fighter. Good wins, though. Morrell, good win. Volsdik, good win. Caleb Plant, good win. But they were never pound-for-pound fighters. So don't talk to me about Anthony Yarde losing every step-up fight he's been in as if you're trying to say that David Benavidez is the caliber of them fighters. He has to prove that. And I don't see nothing wrong with y'all with letting him prove that. Y'all don't want him to prove that because y'all want to run with this narrative that he's greater than everybody else, and he's just not. So all I'm saying is just let him prove it. So I'm going with David Benavidez in this fight. I got David. But in between that time where y'all talking about Yarde starts to fade, he's going to be dangerous and give David hell all the way up until then, because David is not. He's not what y'all. He's not no defensive wizard. He's not no catch and shoot counter puncher. He's not no make him miss, make him pay counter puncher. He's not none of that. He's not slipping shots. He's not, he's not getting to the sides of shots and bringing the backhand over the top. He's not slipping to the sides of shot and putting the uppercut up the middle. He's not doing none of that. He's a brute, and ain't a fucking thing wrong with it. Ain't a fucking thing wrong with it. He's a pressure fighter. Ain't a fucking thing wrong with it. When I say that shit, for whatever reason, it ruffles people's feathers and shit. Because, they know I'm not a David Benavidez fan. They know that. So they'll take everything I say and chalk it up to me throwing salt and hating or whatever. Like, no, it ain't. I'm not hating. I'm telling you right now, I'm not a fan of him. But I don't think he's a trash fighter. And for whatever reason, that just ain't enough for him. If I ain't throwing roses at homeboy feet, I'm a OD hater or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, man, this shit is corny, bro. Whatever the fuck ever. But it is what it is. And I stand on who I am and what I am. And I'm a hating ass nigga. But even through all that hating I do, I still got David Benavidez winning the fight. But I'm rooting for Anthony Yarde. And I take no issue with it. So to reiterate what it is I'm saying, Anthony Yarde is going to hurt David Benavidez at some point in this fight, in between rounds one until he starts getting tired. He's going to be an imminent threat, and in those moments, he's going to hit David Benavidez with something where it's going to take him a minute to recover from that. It don't got to be an entirety of a round. It doesn't have to be rounds on rounds on rounds on rounds until he gets his legs back under him. It ain't got to be that long. It doesn't have to be that long. It could be a half a round. It could be a minute. I'm trusting his recuperative abilities to get him back, to get his legs back up under him and regain control of the fight. And up the tempo, up the pace, and force Anthony Yarde to now you ain't got to worry about just countering one. I'm gonna put punches together. You got to counter the second. Well, you got to counter the second or the third or the fourth. You dig? You got to do shit like that. You got to be wary. I'll put punches together in a more immaculate fashion where it's not just the one and the two. Because even when you look at David, it's the shoe shining shit, man. He'll shoe shine a little bit more. Uppercut, all of that shit. That's a little bit harder to counter. It is. It is. It is, and I think he'll start shoe shining a little bit later. It'll be harder for him to shoe shine a little bit later on down the match because it's like you can't, when you're tired, you can't see the punches coming. It's like you can't, and your body is, your mind is saying, all right, I need to counter this shit, but you just do not. You just don't have the energy to counter it. And that's where I feel he's going to pick up. He's gonna pick up on the back end of the fight, and he's gonna win the fight off, predicated off of that. I can see a knockout loss due to exhaustion from Anthony Yarde, but I don't see it. It's nothing that I'm going to bank on. I'm saying UD. I'll go with David in a UD. I'll go David in a UD. But I could see a stoppage happening due to exhaustion. But I'm telling people, David is not punching with the same level of authority as these other. He's not punching with the same level of authority as Beterbiev or Kovalev. He's just not. He's not. He's not. So I don't see him going in here and knocking him out. I wouldn't bank on it. I can see it happening. Let me take that back. I can see it happening. I just won't bank on it. So David Benavidez, unanimous decision. I think I said split decision on the IBFP. I'll take that back. I'm gonna go with the unanimous decision. And yeah, that's how I'm feeling about it, man. But he's gonna have to go through the hell and high water to get that shit. He's gonna have to bite down on that gum shield and put punches together at a lot more rapid pace, faster than what you were accustomed to doing early on in the fight. You're gonna have to be a little bit more dynamic with your punches and your punch selection, so he can't read whatever shots it is you're trying to set up and throw at him. And we'll see where it goes from there. But I think that's how the fight is gonna play out. So I'm going with David, unanimous decision. And I can see a knockout happening or a stoppage, but I'm not going to bank on it. And that's how I'm feeling about it, man. So tomorrow we talk about Devin and Brian. Doses.